Hi Anirban, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Jaydip, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. It's been a while that we met, and I'm hoping that today we are going to have an interesting discussion, Anirban.
I really hope so. Yeah. So,
So we have a different take today, and there was this article that I actually wanted to get started off with
okay.
in Economist, where recently, and this article appeared, in fact, in this month itself, where TCS CEO Mr. Krithivasan predicted that maybe a year or so down the line, generative AI-led chatbots could do much of the work of a call center employee. In fact, that was his prediction, and in that context, he also said that uh, while he mentioned that it the AI chatbot do much of the work of a call center employee, he also mentioned that he believes that in this AI world, there's going to be more requirement for tech workers and not fewer. I
Right.
mean, that's an interesting comment. So I just wanted to pick up your brain in terms of what it really means, what he really meant, and what it really means for the Indian IT industry in particular.
Sure, sure. Yeah, so what's happening is with all this Gen AI and also other AI tools, technologies, and all coming in, it is now very clear that the simplest tasks are at a risk of getting wiped out. And what are these? For example, repetitive data processing tasks, right? You're processing some forms and files, etc., or simple customer requests which are being handled by call center executives, right? So that's where his statement that those kind of things can be taken over by AI-based systems is actually, uh, very true. On the other hand, when he says that it's also a thing of opportunity. It's actually true because the opportunities are in terms of creating AI-based systems. On one hand, you to improve the productivity of employees, right? Whether the employees of the IT companies themselves or the employees of your customers. And then also you look at how do you improve the efficiency of your various business processes, right? So, for example, you could be using, coding copilots or agents for improving the productivity of the developers. That may lead to your some application, development time coming down by 10%, 20%, 30%. So you can expect that you may expect a system with less number of bugs and all. So those kind of things will actually generate, more work for these IT companies.
Okay. Yeah, no, that makes sense. So, in one hand, when there are opportunities, newer opportunities that I think is emerging, on the other hand, some of those routine, mundane tasks are going to get eliminated or at least get taken care by the newer
Hmm.
set of tools powered by generative AI technologies. So,
Right.
one obvious leading question from this could be is how do you perceive the impact of AI or maybe generative AI in this case on the workforce within the IT sector, particularly regarding the job displacement that we hear so much, and also the
Right.
need for upskilling in the workforce?
Yeah, I think there will be a huge upheaval in all this, right? And so right now, actually, a significant percentage, probably more than 50% of the workforce in the major IT companies could be the BPO and those kind of segments, and that those segments will be more significantly impacted. Right now, you have to while the new work will be from a completely different set of skills that will be needed for those new work. Right. So, and the question is, I mean, people are talking about upskilling, retraining, and all those things, but there will be a thing that whether these people can so easily get upskilled and trained in this completely new technologies when they are not accustomed to probably using such tools and technologies. But remember that these people are using the IT system more to address customer requests and all, whether it is looking at information and answering questions, helping them with something, or processing simple forms like expense reimbursement form and things like that. And then from there, you're expecting them to move to, developing AI-based systems, and also there could be some real challenges for both the employees and the companies in terms of how they move people from one skill set to another. That fungibility between these two, I'm not sure it is very high.
Yeah, and I think besides technologies, managers, especially the middle managers, and also the executives, are going to play an important role, handling this
Right.
entire transition, right? Because there are going to be a lot of sentiments involved, people's emotions involved, and a lot of explanation and clarity required, right? Which I think is on the people side,
Mhm.
but going to be critical to handhold this entire process, the transition process.
Exactly. Yeah. So when
So,
people talk of things like, like if you move from manual things like say handloom and all, and then textile industry created so much jobs with machines and automatic stuff. But again, thing is that people who are actually building the handloom, how many of them went on to become textile, company employees? So that differentiation is always there, right? So that's what we have to see how this affects the place.
right, yeah. And I think in the way the demand is surging, right, for AI related services, how do you think the traditional IT companies are going to position themselves to meet these diverse needs of their clients, right? Such as, for example, developing AI tools for customer support, or maybe deploying predictive analytics. What are those different ways that the IT company?
So here, I think the way they position themselves, which will change, and many of these companies have been changing the way they go and talk to customers. So if you look back a while ago, 10 years, 15 years, it was always like a technology forward thing. You said, okay, have people and we have experience and competence in developing systems in Java or C, or we know how to create applications or systems based on any particular ERP package like SAP or Oracle or CRM system based on Salesforce and all. Now you can go and talk to them saying that, okay, you have these processes, so now allow me to help you make it more efficient, more productive by bringing in AI, and then again transforming and reimagining those processes. Because now, based on my experience, I know how these systems work because I have been working with you for last so many years, or in this kind of clients for last so many years, and have developed. So that domain specific expertise and all you have to bring in, rather than saying that, okay, I know this particular AI tool or that particular thing. So that's where I think the IT companies have to go, and they are actually going. Many of them are actually doing that.
Yeah, that makes sense considering the variables are not going to change. They're still going to be the productivity,
Right.
the efficiency, and the cost savings.
Correct.
So I guess we will continue to see how it evolves, and we'll have to wait and see. But
Yeah.
these are good insights, Anirban. Thanks for sharing with our viewers today. With that, we'll move to segment two, and in the segment two, we will discuss about the data and the relevance and the quality of data, why it is so critical in the AI age today. We are going to shift gear in this segment. As we focus more on enterprise AI adoption. So, my question today is going to focus more on the data quality. So AI's potential is basically significantly limited by the quality of the data that the system utilizes, right? Despite the rapid increase in data volume, its declining quality and lack of standardization pose severe challenges for AI effectiveness. While a lot of work currently are being done to improve that, I wanted to pick up your brain in terms of, given that the AI is only as good as the data it uses. Can you elaborate on the most common data quality issues in an AI project, and how they can actually impact the outcome?
Yeah, while everyone is talking of AI and Gen AI and all, uh, the thing is very simple. Without quality data, even the most sophisticated AI system you try to build is actually useless, right? So it is very, very important that the foundational data is very good, and it is the quality of the data that matters, not quantity. So you can't say that, okay, I just have huge amount of data and then the system will take care of itself, right? Because if the data is inaccurate or badly formatted and all those things, then it will lead to wrong decisions and wrong outcomes. Okay, it will even lead to failed projects. So, I mean, what's the point of building an AI system when the underlying data is not right, inaccurate, or not enough, and all those things, right? So, if you're building a house, the foundation has to be strong. And that's why it is very important that when you think of your AI strategy and all those things, you have to first think of all the data that you have and your data strategy, right? So that has to guide you from right from the conception of you're building the AI system all the way up to operation. So how you are gathering data, how are you collecting it, curating it, ranking it, aggregating it, and making it ready for any kind of analysis, and not just AI, is very, very important.
Yeah. So, considering that your output or the results that you get by deploying an AI system highly dependent on the quality of data, what steps do you think the organization should take to improve the data standardization and probably ensure that AI systems are fed with the high quality data? I mean, obviously, this
Mhm.
will come from their AI and data strategy as a foundation. But what are those steps that you would recommend organizations should consider?
So one of the key things is that the company should, ensure that every data set that you have, whether you're getting it from one particular IT system or the other, and whether it's structured data or visual data or whatever data, so there has to be a data steward, data owners for this who will ensure that the data is correct. The second part is you should have a common common system, whether you call it a data lake or data warehouse or data mart, doesn't matter, where this standardized data, accurate data is stored. And then you should have the AI system, pick up data from that single source of truth and do all the processing on that data. So if you don't do that, if the data is in different silos, then one is that there could be inaccuracies, there could be mismatch of data. The data might have different levels, same data might have different levels, and multiple different issues can come up. So it is always very essential that you have that single source from which the data is taken for any kind of AI application.
Okay. And the other concern related to data quality is also um, the bias, right? And we often talk about
Right.
AI bias can create hallucinations in the output that it provides, right? So, what
Yeah.
are the possible effective strategies that you have seen are good while implementing AI systems to minimize bias?
A couple of elements of data are very, very important. One is the completeness of data, right? So if you are taking data, for example, one great thing is about this medical area, right, where people may actually do the medical, the drugs discovery phase and then the whole drugs, phase of getting through the different certifications and FDA and all before it comes to market. So they do tests on different patients and all. But if that is done on a very select subset of human population, we don't know what will happen if that same drug is used in other areas. So if it is used in, for example, only in India, we don't know how it will react
Mm.
when that same drug is given to people in, say, Latin America. So those kind of things will come, and we have seen other systems like, because of this incompleteness, then security systems and all, they only keep on targeting certain sector of people. So that completeness of data is very, very essential to ensure that you have the full set to train your AI model on, so that it can take care of all the different possibilities. And the other thing is also timeliness, in the sense that the data should be available for latest as well as older ones, and ensuring that if you take only for a certain few months and then you try to build an AI model, it may not work. For example, if you just take data from only, say, the winter months, and then you try to forecast, build a forecasting model for a retail clothing store, they may feel that they can only sell woolens and other cold weather clothing in summer also. So those kind of things can be avoided by ensuring that your data set is as complete as possible, and it covers all the time sphere as well.
I think, based on what you said, one thing that is important, or gets established, is that it's important to have the data strategy in place much before the implementation phase, right? And
Yeah.
get the data piece very clearly sorted. So obviously, having a data strategy is critical to any AI, the success of any AI project implementations, and seeing outcome without bias. How do you really see the evolution of data strategies in AI, considering, last 3 months or 4 years, there have been significant amount of data explosion, and the evolution of AI, and more importantly Gen AI, that has happened. Right now we are at the enterprise adoption phase for generative AI. So considering that there is a growing emphasis on accountability and transparency for the outcome, right, that these LLMs led generative AI engines produce, how do you see the evolution has sort of happened in the last 3 to 4 years, considering your exposure to so many customer projects, and data, and the way the data has been managed and the data strategy is being made, right?
Yeah, so in this, lot of people were earlier looking more data as just trying to put everything in a single place, whether it's data mart or data lake, and then trying to do analytics on top of that, dashboarding on top of that. But with the AI coming in, they now also have to look at all the sides of the data in terms of, as discussed, completeness, timeliness, uniqueness, whether data really is unique or it is not, and things like that. And the other thing also is, when you're building this AI models, the strategy should involve, how do you review the training data? So when you are using certain section of the data for training, so how do you choose that, whether that is the correct thing? So it has to be done very properly, saying that, okay, is this a good enough training data that can cover most of the use cases and all? And then other thing is also look at, in terms of building a strategy, how do you eliminate human biases? So now when I'm talking of completeness and all, I may think that, okay, this data is complete, but it may not be. So how do we have certain systems and processes based on the area where I'm trying to develop the AI model, and say that, okay, it actually is complete. So how do I remove the biases of the data scientists who are actually building that AI model? So, and that will go a long way in terms of ensuring that this bias is removed, and then look at the training data. And third is also, we have to listen to feedback when you actually go to the production section, production area, and then put the model in production, and then you start getting feedback. You have to listen to the feedback and then again go back and see how can the model be changed or tweaked to address those feedback, right? So people may say, okay, this model is having this kind of issues or this kind of errors. So look at that, whether that is really true. If true, then what do you need to do to address those concerns, those feedback in your next version of the model, right? So those model tweaking and all has to be done.
So, are you hearing this conversation when you are speaking to customers today in terms of are they talking about the data strategy? Are they having a data strategy in place in most of your conversations, um, or are they asking questions in these lines?
They have started to, especially the larger and multinational companies. And this also is because of different rules and regulations, coming up
Hmm.
in EU particularly, and to a certain extent in US
Hmm.
also. Like
Hmm.
the EU AI Act says that there should be public audits of data sets or mandatory reports on the training data sources used, right?
Hmm.
So in US also there is now growing demand for transparency in training data and all those things. So I think people are still realizing that they have to look at all of this. That AI model cannot be a complete black box, so to speak. So yeah,
Yeah.
this is started to happen. This has started to happen.
It's interesting, in terms of how the data journey in last 7 to 8 years has expanded, um, in terms of simply the considerations that the companies now need to take, considering at one point of time maybe data was primarily captured and stored and to do analysis, analytics, and getting insights and predictability. But today
Mhm.
data has a lot more wider applications, especially with AI systems deployed across the journey and processes and workflow, right? So clearly, this is an area which
Right.
is, I think, growing and maturing as we speak, and we will see more and more governance and more awareness in this space. So, with that, Anirban, let's wrap up this segment, and we will continue to dialogue in these lines of enterprise adoption. Thank you for very much for your inputs today, and have a great day.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jaydeep. You too have a great day. Bye.